My name is Patrick, and I need to tell you about the night I realized that a badge doesn't always mean safety. Sometimes it means the exact opposite. It was late October 2019. I was driving back home to Portland after visiting my girlfriend in Seattle. The drive usually took about 3 hours, but I'd left late, around 11 p.m., because we'd lost track of time watching movies. I wish we'd just stayed up there that night. About an hour into the drive, I'm on this stretch of I-5 that's pretty desolate. No streetlights, just darkness pressing in on both sides of the highway. My phone was at 15%, and I hadn't seen another car in maybe 20 minutes. That's when I saw the flashing lights behind me, red and blue, unmistakable. My heart jumped, that instinctive panic, even when you know you haven't done anything wrong. I checked my speedometer. I was going 67 in a 70 zone. I hadn't been swerving. I had no idea why I was being pulled over. I signaled and pulled onto the shoulder. The patrol car pulled up behind me. But here's the thing. The headlights stayed on, bright, blinding in my rearview mirror. I couldn't see anything behind that wall of light. I waited. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes. Nobody got out of the car. My phone buzzed. My girlfriend asking if I'd made it home yet. I texted back quickly. Got pulled over. Call you soon. But as I hit send, I noticed my signal was gone. 1 bar, then nothing. That's when I heard the tap on my window. I nearly jumped out of my skin. I hadn't seen him approach. Hadn't seen flashlight beams or heard footsteps. He was just there. I rolled down my window, and that's when I got my first good look at him. He was wearing a police uniform, state patrol, but something was off. The uniform looked old. Not vintage old, but worn, faded, and it didn't quite fit right, like he'd borrowed it from someone else. License and registration, he said. His voice was flat, emotionless. Sure, officer. Can I ask why you pulled me over? He didn't answer, just stared at me. His face was pale, almost gray in the darkness, and his eyes didn't blink. Not once. My hands were shaking as I reached for my wallet. Something in my gut was screaming that this wasn't right. Step out of the vehicle, he said suddenly. I'm sorry. Step out of the vehicle. There was no warmth in his voice, no humanity. I've been pulled over before. Officers are usually professional, maybe a little stern, but still human. This guy talked like he was reading from a script he didn't understand. Officer, I don't think. Now, the word came out wrong. Too loud, too sharp, like it hurt him to say it. I opened my door with trembling hands. The air outside was freezing, way colder than it should have been for October. My breath came out in clouds. He was standing too close, way too close. I could smell something coming off him. Something chemical and sweet, like formaldehyde. Turn around, he said. Hands on the vehicle. I did as he said. My heart was hammering. Behind me, I could hear him breathing, but it was wrong. Too slow, too deliberate, like he was manually controlling each breath. You were speeding, he said finally. No, sir, I was going 67. You were speeding, he repeated. Exact same inflection. Like a recording. His hand touched my shoulder, and I flinched. His fingers were ice cold, even through my jacket. I'm going to search your vehicle, he said. That's when I saw it. In the side mirror of my car, I caught a glimpse of his patrol vehicle. The lights were still flashing, but the car looked wrong. The paint was dull, oxidized, and the license plate. It was from 1987. Officer, I said, my voice cracking. What's your badge number? Silence. His grip on my shoulder tightened. Those fingers dug in like claws. What's your badge number? I asked again, louder. Turn around, he whispered. His voice had changed. It was raspy now. Hungry. I didn't think. I just moved. I shoved backward as hard as I could, breaking his grip, and dove back into my car. My fingers fumbled with the ignition as I heard him moving. Not walking, but this weird shuffling scrape, like something was being dragged. The engine roared to life. I slammed it into drive and floored it, tires screaming on the asphalt. In my rearview mirror, I saw him standing in the middle of the road, illuminated by my taillights. He wasn't chasing me. He was just watching. His head tilted at an unnatural angle, and then his mouth opened. Too wide. Far too wide. I drove for 30 minutes straight without stopping, doing 90 the whole way, until I hit the outskirts of Olympia. I pulled into the first gas station I saw and called 911. I told them everything. This in a unit to check the area where I'd been pulled over. They found nothing. No tire marks from police cruiser. Nothing. But here's what keeps me up at night. 3 days later, I got a call from a detective in Thurston County. He asked me to describe the officer again. The uniform. The patrol car. Everything. When I finished, there was a long silence on the line. "Mr. Harrison," he said quietly, "what you're describing matches an officer named David Rains. He was a state trooper who worked that stretch of highway. He died in 1987, killed during a routine traffic stop when a driver shot him and left him on the side of the road. We never caught who did it. His body was never recovered. I haven't driven that highway since, and I never will again, because sometimes the dead don't let go of their post." My name is Davina. I'm 26 years old, and I need you to understand something. When a police officer knocks on your door at 3 a.m., always ask for identification first. This happened last year. I was living alone in a small apartment in Boise, Idaho. It was my first place by myself after college. Nothing fancy. Just a one-bedroom on the second floor of an older building. The neighborhood was quiet. Safe. I'd never had any problems. Until that night. I'd gone to bed around midnight after a normal evening. Dinner, Netflix, reading. I was in that deep, comfortable sleep when something woke me up. Knock. 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 Heavy. Deliberate. On my front door. I rolled over and checked my phone. 3:17 a.m. My first thought was that it was my neighbor, Mrs. Jennifer. She was elderly and sometimes got confused at night. But the knocking came again, harder this time. Knock. 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 I grabbed my robe and crept to the door, my heart already racing. I looked through the peephole. A police officer was standing there, full uniform, flashlight in hand. He was young, maybe early 30s, with a clean-cut appearance and a professional stance. "Ma'am," he called out. "Boise PD. We received a wellness check request for this address. Can you open the door?" A wellness check. I wasn't expecting anyone. No one had any reason to worry about me. Who called it in? I asked through the door. "Your mother," he said immediately. "She said she couldn't reach you and was worried. Can you please open the door so I can verify you're safe?" That made sense. Mom was a worrier, and I had forgotten to call her back earlier that evening. She'd definitely do something like that. But something still felt off. "Can you show me your badge?" I asked. Of course. He held something up to the peephole. It looked official, a gold badge with Boise Police Department engraved on it. His ID card was clipped to his chest. I hesitated for another moment, then undid the deadbolt and opened the door, keeping the chain lock engaged. "I'm fine," I said. "Sorry my mom worried. I'll call her first thing in the morning." The officer smiled, but it didn't reach his eyes. "Ma'am, I still need to complete the welfare check. That means I need to visually confirm you're unharmed and not under duress. Can I come in for just a moment?" "I'm right here," I said. "You can see I'm fine." "Department protocol," he insisted, his smile fading. "I need to enter the residence. It'll only take a minute." Something in his tone had changed. The politeness was still there, but underneath it was something else. Something demanding. "I'd rather you didn't," I said. "I'm clearly fine. You can make note of that." His jaw tightened. "Ma'am, if you don't allow me to complete the welfare check, I'll have to call for backup. and we'll have to force entry for your own safety. Is that really necessary? Fear shot through me. Could they actually do that? Let me just call the station and verify. I started to say. That won't be necessary. His hand moved to the door, pressing against it, testing the chain lock. Just open the door, Sarah. I never told him my name. My blood went cold. How do you know my name? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. His expression changed. The professional mask slipped, and what was underneath made my stomach turn. His eyes were dark, predatory. You're going to open this door, he said quietly, one way or another. I slammed the door shut and threw the deadbolt. My hands were shaking so badly I could barely work my phone. Ma'am, he shouted through the door. All pretense gone now. Open this door right now. I dialed 911, my whole body trembling. 911, what's your emergency? There's someone pretending to be a police officer at my door. He's trying to get inside. Please send help. The door shuddered. He was kicking it. The frame cracked. Boise PD. I gasped out my address. Please hurry. Crash. The chain lock broke. The door flew open. He was standing there, and he wasn't smiling anymore. In his hand was something that glinted in the hallway light. Not a gun. A knife. You should have just let me in, he said. I screamed. The loudest scream of my life. And thank God, my neighbor Mr. Peterson came bursting out of his apartment with a baseball bat, shouting. The fake officer ran, just turned and sprinted down the stairs. Real police arrived 4 minutes later. They caught him trying to break into his car in the parking lot. His name was Eric Voss. He wasn't a police officer. He was a registered sex offender who'd been watching me for weeks. The uniform was real. He'd bought it online. The badge was fake but convincing. He'd learned my name from my mailbox. He'd done this before. 3 other women in 3 other states. All wellness checks at 3 a.m. I was the first one who didn't open the door. Now I have 3 deadbolts, security cameras, and I never, ever open my door at night, even for police, especially for police. My name is Tommy. I was 16 when this happened. I'm 23 now, and I still can't drive past a parked police car without my hand shaking. Summer of 2016. I was staying with my aunt in rural Montana for a few weeks. She lived on this property outside a tiny town called Whitewood. Population maybe 400. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, where you could leave your doors unlocked, where nothing bad ever happened. I was loving it. No parents, lots of freedom, beautiful wilderness. My aunt worked night shifts as a nurse, so I had the house to myself most evenings. This particular night, July 19th, I remember because it was my cousin's birthday. I was up late playing video games. My aunt had left for work around 10 p.m. Around 1 a.m., I got thirsty and headed to the kitchen for water. That's when I saw the lights through the window, red and blue, flashing slowly, sitting in the driveway, a police cruiser. I froze, glass of water halfway to my lips. We hadn't called the police. There was no emergency. Why was there a cop car in our driveway? I moved to the front window and peeked through the curtains. The patrol car was parked maybe 30 feet from the house, engine running, lights flashing in that slow, rotating pattern. The headlights were on, illuminating the gravel driveway, but I couldn't see anyone inside, and no one had knocked on the door. I stood there for maybe 5 minutes, just watching, waiting for someone to get out, waiting for a knock. Nothing. The car just sat there, lights spinning, engine rumbling. I pulled out my phone and thought about calling my aunt, but she'd be in the middle of her shift. Then I thought about calling 911, but what would I say? There's a police car in my driveway, and no one's getting out? Finally, I decided to go check. Maybe the officer had a medical emergency. Maybe he needed help. I was such an idiot. I grabbed a flashlight from the kitchen drawer and opened the front door. The night air was warm and still. Crickets were chirping. Everything seemed normal except for that car, sitting there with its lights painting the darkness red and blue. "Hello," I called out. "Officer." No response. I walked slowly across the gravel, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. As I got closer, I could see the car more clearly. It was a county sheriff's vehicle. Official markings. Everything looked legitimate, but the windows were tinted dark, and I still couldn't see inside. "Hello," I said again, louder this time. I was maybe 10 feet away now. Still nothing. I stepped up to the driver's side door and shined my flashlight through the window. The car was empty. Completely empty. No officer. No equipment on the seats. No clipboard. No radio handset, nothing. But the engine was running. The lights were on. And the driver's side door was unlocked. I could see the lock button was up. What the hell? I muttered. That's when I noticed something else. The radio, the police radio mounted in the center console, was on. Static hissed from the speaker. And every few seconds, there'd be a burst of something. Not quite words. Not quite noise. Just this distorted sound that made my skin crawl. I should have gone back inside right then. I should have called someone. But I was 16 and stupid and curious. So I opened the door. The interior light didn't come on when I opened the door. That was the first weird thing. The second weird thing was the smell. The car reeked of copper and earth, like old blood and wet dirt. I leaned in, looking around. The keys were in the ignition. A half-empty coffee cup sat in the cup holder, still warm. Someone had been here recently. The radio crackled again, and this time I heard something that made my blood freeze. "Tommy," my name, through the radio static. Crystal clear. "Tommy, help." I jumped back from the car, my heart hammering. The radio kept hissing, but the voice was gone. "Who's there?" I shouted into the darkness. This isn't funny. The property around my aunt's house was mostly open, fields and scattered trees. If someone was messing with me, I should have been able to see them, but there was no one. Just darkness, and that goddamn cop car with its lights still spinning. The radio crackled again. "Tommy, please, help me." It was a man's voice, desperate, terrified. "Where are you?" I called out. "In the woods, he's coming. Tommy, please." Every instinct in my body was screaming at me to run inside, lock the doors, and hide. But someone was asking for help. Someone who knew my name. I grabbed my flashlight tighter and looked toward the tree line, about 100 yards from the house. The woods were dark, impenetrable. "Hello," I shouted toward the trees. "Tommy, hurry." The voice was fainter now, fading. I started walking toward the woods. I don't know why. It was like something was pulling me forward. Each step felt wrong, but I couldn't stop. Behind me, the police car's lights continued their lazy rotation. Red, blue, red, blue. I was halfway to the tree line when the radio went silent, and then I heard footsteps behind me. I spun around, my flashlight beam cutting through the darkness. Someone was standing next to the police car, a figure in uniform, a sheriff's deputy, broad-shouldered and tall. "Oh, thank God," I breathed. "Officer, someone's in the woods. They need help." The figure didn't move, didn't respond. My flashlight beam was pointed right at him, but I couldn't see his face. It was like the light just stopped, like there was a void where his head should be. "Officer," my voice cracked. He took a step toward me, then another. His movements were wrong, jerky and unnatural, like a puppet being controlled by someone who didn't quite understand how humans moved. I ran, pure instinct. I dropped the flashlight and just ran toward the house as fast as my legs could carry me. Behind me, I could hear him following, not running, that same jerky, shuffling walk, but somehow keeping pace, getting closer. I hit the porch steps and nearly fell, caught myself, and lunged for the front door. My hand was shaking so badly I could barely grip the handle. I threw myself inside and slammed the door, throwing the deadbolt. For a moment, there was silence. Just my ragged breathing and the pounding of my heart. Then knock, knock, knock. 3 slow, deliberate knocks on the door. Tommy. The voice came through the door. Flat. Wrong. You need to let me in. There's a dangerous individual in the area. I backed away from the door, my whole body trembling. Tommy. Open the door. Go away. I screamed. I'm a police officer. You're in danger. Open the door. I grabbed my phone and dialed 911 with shaking hands. 911, what's your? There's someone outside my house pretending to be a cop. I gasped out. He's trying to get inside. The knocking stopped. I ran to the window and peeked through the curtains. The police car was still there, lights flashing, but the figure was gone. Real police arrived about 20 minutes later. 2 deputies from the county sheriff's office. They searched the property, the woods, everything. They found nothing, no signs of anyone. But here's the thing that still makes my hands shake. When they checked their records, they confirmed something that made them both go pale. Son, one of them said quietly, we don't have any units assigned to this area tonight. We have 3 deputies on duty, and all 3 are accounted for. Then whose car was that? I asked. They exchanged glances. What car? The police car was gone. Completely gone. No tire tracks. No evidence it had ever been there. But I saw it. I touched it. I opened the door. The deputies didn't believe me. They thought I'd had a nightmare or made it up. But my aunt believed me, because she told me something she'd never mentioned before. In 1987, a sheriff's deputy named Frank Hodges disappeared on duty in Whitewood. He responded to a call about someone needing help in the woods on the outskirts of town. He was never seen again. His patrol car was found 3 days later, parked in a driveway. Engine still running. Lights still on. Empty. They never found his body, and they never figured out what happened to him. My aunt sold that property the next year. She wouldn't tell me why, but I know. Because I wasn't the first person to see that car. And I won't be the last. If you made it this far, thank you for listening. These stories are real. These people are real. And sometimes, the people sworn to protect us are the ones we should fear most. Stay safe out there.